Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, an exit strategy, and now amid serious allegations, Harry and Meghan have gone silent. Harry once told Anderson Cooper silence is betrayal, so why the double standard in this scenario?
Jessica herself and her husband sat in the front row as St. George's Chapel right across from the royals went absolutely kaputs overnight after a stupid social media bust-up back in 2020. Apparently, Meghan at the time was looking for any reason to get rid of her friend. And you can't help but wonder why. How did this relationship sour so quickly in the span of just a little over 2 years after Meghan worked very closely with Jessica for a long time?
Guys, Meghan Markle is getting dragged. And this time, it's not just about royal drama. The spotlight is back on the Duchess of Sussex, but now it's shining on how she treats the people closest to her. Critics are calling out what they say is Meghan's selective loyalty, and the receipts are starting to pile up. Remember Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's former BFF, stylist, and right-hand woman. They were inseparable. But the moment Jessica got caught up in a social media scandal, Meghan cut ties fast. No statement, no defense, just silence and distance. Now fast forward to Tyler Perry, the man who famously gave Meghan and Harry a home and security during their dramatic royal exit. He's currently facing serious harassment allegations in a lawsuit involving his studios. And Meghan, not a word, no comment, no distancing, just crickets. And that's what has people talking. The backlash has been intense, with many questioning whether Meghan and Harry's carefully curated public image, all about compassion, justice, and progressive values, really matches how they move behind the scenes. It's got fans asking, where's the accountability? Where's the consistency? And what does loyalty actually look like in Meghan's world? With her inner circle shrinking and trust issues growing louder, the Meghan Markle brand is once again under fire. And this time, it's not from the tabloids. It's from the people who used to be closest to her. So join me today as we dive into all this drama and figure out why people are now calling Meghan the biggest snake in Hollywood.
Harry and Meghan backed Perry. It could encourage others to do the same. But instead, their silence feels like pure self-preservation. Meghan has time to post 4-year-old twerking videos and promote rosé or jam, but no time to acknowledge a man who gave her so much. The more she speaks, the louder the accusations of narcissism get.
So when it comes to celebrity relationships, few are as layered or as revealing as Meghan Markle's. From red carpets to royal palaces and back again, Meghan has carefully built a tight circle around her. But now, that inner circle is starting to look more like a revolving door. Recent headlines have reignited the conversation about how Meghan handles her closest relationships, especially when things get messy. And 2 names stand out in this unfolding saga: Jessica Mulroney and Tyler Perry. Once her ride-or-die BFF stylist and confidant, Jessica Mulroney, was swiftly iced out after a social media controversy made her a liability. Meghan, who once leaned on Jessica during some of the most intense moments of her public life, didn't offer support, a defense, or even a word. She just vanished from the friendship. But now comes the twist. Tyler Perry, who famously opened his mansion to Meghan and Harry during their royal exit and offered them protection, is facing serious harassment allegations involving his studio. And Meghan went silent. No distancing, no statement, no clarification. This double standard has people asking the tough questions. Is Meghan's loyalty transactional? Is she loyal to people or to what they can do for her? As the backlash brews, critics point to a growing pattern, one where loyalty seems to hinge on usefulness and relationships are managed through the lens of image control. The contrast between how Jessica was dropped versus how Tyler is being quietly protected speaks volumes about the brand versus reality tension that continues to follow Meghan and Harry. You see, Jessica Mulroney wasn't just Meghan Markle's stylist or some casual Hollywood friend. She was a major player in Meghan's inner circle. For years, Jessica was the go-to girl, the one helping shape Meghan's public image long before royal titles and global headlines. Their friendship looked rock solid. Jessica was right there through it all, from Meghan's Hollywood days to her entrance into the royal spotlight. She stood by Meghan during some of her biggest life moments, including that iconic royal wedding where Jessica's daughter Ivy walked down the aisle as a bridesmaid, right alongside Princess Charlotte. That wasn't just friendship, that was family-level closeness. But then everything changed and fast. In 2020, Jessica got caught in the middle of a social media firestorm over a controversial comment involving race. It was messy, it was public, and out of nowhere, Meghan ghosted her. To many, the message was loud and clear. Jessica was no longer useful, and that meant she was out. The whole situation raised eyebrows and sparked conversations about Meghan's friendships. Was the loyalty real, or was it conditional on how someone fit into her narrative? Because let's not forget, this was a woman who once stood beside her at the most watched wedding of the decade. Now Jessica was clearly blindsided, and to her credit, she tried to hold it together publicly. She posted emotional tributes and cryptic quotes about friendship and loyalty, clearly trying to signal that something had been lost, and it hurt. But the message from Meghan was clear. She'd been discarded, and what followed was just a wave of endless disaster. Brand partnerships disappeared overnight. Her reality show was cancelled. Her reputation in both fashion and media circles took a massive hit. Jessica went from being a sought-after stylist and TV personality to a cautionary tale, all while the person she once called her closest friend stayed completely silent. Behind the scenes, insiders say Jessica felt humiliated and abandoned, stunned that someone she once supported so fiercely, someone she literally helped walk into royal life, would drop her the moment the optics got messy. It was a complete 180 from the sisterhood they used to flaunt. From helping Meghan navigate life under a royal microscope to being iced out like she never mattered, Jessica's downfall became a glaring example of how quickly people can disappear from Meghan's world, especially when they no longer fit the brand. Now here is where the drama really heats up. You see, Tyler Perry has found himself in the same position as Jessica, but he seems to be enjoying a very different kind of treatment. Tyler Perry was a lifeline for Meghan and Harry. When the royal fallout hit, he gave them a multi-million-dollar mansion, provided security, and opened his arms and his wallet during their escape from the firm. He was a savior, no doubt. But now, Tyler Perry is facing a $260 million lawsuit filed by actor Derek Dixon, who worked under Perry's company. Dixon has accused Perry of creating a toxic, abusive work environment filled with harassment and graphic misconduct. The case is ongoing and it's serious. But here's the catch. Meghan has remained completely silent. It's a stark contrast to how she handled Jessica Mulroney. Jessica was gone in a flash. But Perry, even with a massive lawsuit hanging over him, still protected, still untouched. The double standard is hard to ignore, and people are starting to ask, is Meghan's loyalty based on principle or power? Because when the optics get messy, the pattern seems clear. If you're no longer useful or brand safe, you're out. But if you still serve the narrative or helped build the empire, silence, protection, damage control. Now you would think Meghan, who has been a vocal advocate for women's rights, equality and justice, would be the first to speak out about Tyler's situation. But not this time. What makes this even more glaring is the contrast. When Jessica Mulroney got caught in a controversy involving race on social media, something far less severe than a multi-million-dollar harassment lawsuit, Meghan cut ties instantly. So the question is obvious. Why the double standard? Why was Meghan so quick to drop Jessica over a public scandal, but seemingly unwilling to even acknowledge the very serious accusations against Perry? Is it about values or about optics? About standing for what's right or protecting the people who still serve her brand? For someone who's built her post-royal platform around empowerment and accountability, this selective silence is starting to feel a lot like image control, not advocacy. And now, critics are asking, the stark contrast between how Meghan handled Jessica Mulroney and how she's currently navigating the Tyler Perry scandal is more than just a coincidence. It's revealing, and frankly, it's damaging. Jessica, once Meghan's closest friend and image architect, was dropped the moment a social media controversy surfaced. But Tyler Perry, a billionaire with serious Hollywood clout, who now faces a $260 million harassment lawsuit remains fully protected by Meghan's silence. Why? Because Perry still has power and Jessica doesn't. This isn't just about friendship, it's about utility. Perry gave Meghan and Harry a home, security, and Hollywood credibility during their post-royal rebrand. And now, despite the disturbing allegations swirling around him, Meghan hasn't said a word. No distancing, no public support for alleged victims, nothing. Compare that to Jessica, who served her purpose during Meghan's rise, but once she became a liability, she was discarded. And people are noticing. Friends, former aides, and insiders are quietly leaking to the press, revealing what many behind the scenes have suspected for years. Meghan's relationships appear to be emotional transactions. You're valued as long as you serve the brand. The moment you don't, you're out. This selective morality is starting to undermine everything Meghan and Harry claim to stand for: empowerment, justice, and speaking truth to power. How can you challenge injustice when you're silent about it within your own circle? It's not just hypocrisy, it's a calculated contradiction. And the public, they're connecting the dots. The narrative of authenticity and advocacy is starting to crack. And behind it, we're seeing something far more curated, far more self-serving than what's been presented. So now the question becomes, is the Sussex brand built on purpose or preservation? Because silence in moments that demand integrity speaks louder than any speech or docuseries ever could. So now one thing is clear. The tangled dynamics between Meghan Markle, Tyler Perry, and Jessica Mulroney aren't just about friendships. They're about power, image, and the quiet calculus of public perception. Meghan has long positioned herself as a voice for justice and an advocate for those silenced by institutions. But when the people around her face controversy, her responses, or lack thereof, tell a different story. Jessica Mulroney was cut off the moment she became a liability. Tyler Perry, now facing serious allegations, is met with complete silence. This isn't just an inconsistency. It's a glimpse into how loyalty in Meghan's world seems to be conditional, dictated by usefulness, not principle. And now the public is watching more closely than ever. The brand Meghan has worked so hard to build, one of empowerment, truth, and moral leadership, is being tested by her silence. And ironically, that silence may be the loudest statement she's made yet. A statement that says protection is reserved for those who still serve a purpose. A statement that says justice might take a back seat to influence. So the question remains, how long can the image of moral leadership hold up when the values behind it seem selectively applied? Because the cracks are showing and the illusion, it's starting to fade. Anyway, what do you think about this drama? Let me know your opinions in the comments. And don't forget to check out our other stories for even more celeb tea. Till next time, bye.